2025 is almost over. I'm filming this in the middle of November, and we're about to start the last month, which is December. And you might be thinking, I've got to spend all this time at the holidays with my family, with friends, and you definitely should. But this is also a great opportunity to prepare for 2026. Because what happens in December? No one really releases a lot of music. It's mostly Christmas covers. It's just not a good time to release music because people aren't really necessarily paying attention to new music per se, unless you're a major artist. So why not use this month, the month of December, to really focus on what you want to do in 2026 and set yourself up for success. So in this video, I'm going to talk about a couple different things you can do to make sure that 2026 is the best year you can have as a musician. The first tip is to start being consistent. Consistency is a hard thing to do because you have to do it every single day. And if you did Beattober, you know that it's pretty hard to do every single day. It's easy to get burned out and to kind of just say you need a break. And again, there's nothing wrong with taking breaks, but you can be consistent every day in small ways. Maybe that's practicing your instrument for 5 to 15 minutes a day, or making sure you're trying to watch some sort of tutorial on YouTube about music creation, or some sort of software. Or maybe it's just being dedicated of giving yourself time to work on music. And doing it every single day will help you stay consistent, it'll help you grow a lot faster. And if you do it right now during the month of December, you're gonna have those habits in place for when January starts and it's a new year and you can go full throttle throughout the entire year because you've already got those habits created in these last 30 to 45 days of 2025. And as we're going through the last month, like I said, no one's really releasing music during this time. So this is an excellent time to experiment. Really focus in on your sound and what you want your sound to kind of sound like for the first couple of months in 2026. Experiment. Try some different genres, some different styles out. Write a song a day or a beat a day. Do something to where you kind of hone in on what your sound is going to be and what you want it to sound like. This could be just, like I said, making a beat every day, practicing mixing, exploring different textures and techniques, or really listening to some of the tracks that you like and trying to dissect them and figure out what sound do they have that makes it appealing to you, and do you want to have that sound in your music as well? I'm doing this a lot right now, listening to a lot of hip hop beats and lo-fi hip hop to try and figure out what are the elements in some of these songs that really draw me in and how can I recreate those in music going forward. So take this time and discover your sound, really hone in on your sound so that whenever it comes to writing and releasing music in 2026, you're ready to go, you're focused, and you know exactly how to make the sound and what sound needs to be there and what sounds you need to just get out of there. On top of that, this is also an excellent time to understand your DAW further. DAWs can be a complex piece of software. They do a ton of things, and we probably only use about 30 to 40% of what our DAWs can actually do. So in the coming month, if you have downtime, if you're traveling, download some tutorials from YouTube and learn about your DAW. You can learn about keyboard shortcuts, you can practice your workflow, you can create templates that have specific plugins whenever you create a new MIDI track or new audio track so that your workflow is going to be a little bit faster whenever you're ready to dive into a project in the coming year. You've got a whole month to kind of tweak these things out, test them out without any pressure of, oh, I've got to release music, oh, I've got to write stuff. Like, this is an enjoyable break that you kind of get to have to flex your muscles and build these muscles so that in 2026, when it's time to show off, you've already done the work because it's kind of like the slow season for musicians. Now, this next piece of advice is something that everyone kind of does generally at the start of the year, but I think it's really healthy to start doing it right now. And that is to think about and set your goals for 2026. You've got a whole month. Again, you've got time. So think about what you've accomplished, what you want to accomplish in the coming year, and how you're going to do that. Setting goals is one of the critical things to be able to be successful, because if you can set something and you can achieve it, then you're going to be able to take the next step and the next step because you can see how you're growing throughout the entire year. You've got a whole month to do some soul searching, figure out what you want for yourself, what you want to do with music, and how you're going to go about doing that. And you don't have to have major goals. You can set a goal to have for every single month of the year and maybe a couple goals to achieve for the entire year. That's a little bit healthier way to set goals, so that way you don't feel like you're not making any progress in your first couple months of the year. Because if you set a goal for the entire year and that's all you're working on, you might not feel like you're getting there. So it's important to set some smaller goals so you can have those small wins to celebrate throughout the entire year. On top of setting your goals, this is another good opportunity to create a release schedule. And setting your goals and creating a release schedule can kind of go hand in hand, because as you're setting your release schedule, you're going to be telling yourself, oh, I want to release music on these days, on these times, and in these months. If it's going to be singles, EPs, albums, collaborations, you're kind of mapping your year out for your releases. And it's okay if this changes throughout 2026, because just stuff happens, new ideas pop up, things kind of get delayed. It's okay. But to set the idea of what you want to do for yourself when it comes to releasing music is important, so you can strive to achieving that starting in January or even starting today. So create goals and also create a release schedule so you can kind of have an idea of what you need to work on, when you need to work on it, and how long it's possibly going to take to make that music and release it. It will also help you with the idea of creating maybe some concepts for some songs, thinking about album artwork, and maybe just some moods and vibes that you're trying to write in songs in the coming year. So now that we've got our goals listed and we've got our release schedule written, the next thing to kind of like tie these three things together is to write an artist bio. Now, artist bio is a little bit about yourself and a little bit about what you want to do in the future and what you've done in the past, of course. It's an introduction, but also kind of telling your story and also setting the stage for what listeners can potentially expect in the coming year. So if you've already created your goals, you've already done your release schedule, writing your bio is kind of a no-brainer at this point, because it's really just taking both those things, adding what you've done in 2025 or previous years, and simplifying it into a couple sentences, and then updating your artist bio on all the streaming services. So take a couple minutes, think about what are some highlights you've achieved throughout this past year or maybe the last 5 years that you want your fans to continue to check out or new fans to check out. And then write a little bit about what you are trying to do with music. What are your goals, like long-term kind of abstract goals? And then write yourself a little goal inside that bio of what you want to do in 2026. Maybe it's releasing a couple albums, maybe it's focusing on a specific genre or vibe, or maybe it's just trying to engage deeper with fans online. And if it's just to engage with fans online, try and get really specific with it, because that will then direct people that read the bio to check you out on any platform that you're really trying to focus on. On top of writing a bio, this is also a good opportunity to focus on your brand identity for 2026. Brand identity is a tough thing to do. It's tough for me because I kind of just want to wear whatever I want to wear and then get on camera and talk about stuff. And it's just not very recognizable because I either get new clothes or I change my style. So brand identity can be kind of tough. So take a look and see if there's something specific that you really want to highlight about yourself. Maybe it's creating a anime version of yourself for your album artwork or your profile photos, or some sort of cartoonish kind of figure of you that you can kind of use to promote your music and kind of be like the symbol for you. I feel like people do logos not that much anymore, and so having your own logo might be kind of tough to kind of have that recognition for you, unless it's like on all your album artwork or singles or something. But brand identity can also mean how you're going to do maybe merch or posters, or how you're going to talk to people on social media. So this is a good opportunity to kind of bring up some ideas, run them by some people, so that in 2026, you're already ready to go and you're not 2-3 months into the year just now making some changes or creating a brand identity. You've got time to think about it, to run some ideas out, get some sketches, get some feedback, and see what's going to work best for you and your brand identity, so people can find you very easily on social media and know who you are and what you're about. Once your brand identity is established, this is a good idea to go a little bit further. Think about your tone on social media. how do you want to kind of engage and build a following on various platforms in the coming year? There's so many platforms now that it can be kind of tough to engage on all of them. And it's annoying when one piece of content works really well on one platform and not at all on some other platforms. So this is an opportunity to maybe look back at what you've done in the past, see what works really well across several different platforms, and see maybe how you want to change or create new content in the future going forward. Maybe you want to have a more conversational tone on apps like Threads, or maybe you want to just be a little bit more fun for TikTok, or maybe you're going to post some more serious stuff on Instagram or YouTube. Whatever it is, kind of just plan out that content, plan out your tone, see how you want to kind of be able to present yourself on all these platforms, because they're all different and not one thing is always going to work on every single platform. So kind of think about how you want to carry yourself throughout these platforms, but at the same time, just have fun with it too. Whenever social media or content creation kind of becomes a chore, you lose the fun and the imagination for it. So this is more of kind of like an idea to kind of think about some ways that you can kind of still be yourself across all the platforms without maybe like forcing it. As we also move into 2026, hopefully you're thinking of how you're going to work with other people. And of course, that could be through social media, you find people, or it could be through collaborations. Maybe this past year, you've heard some tracks from some artists that you really like, you think are pretty cool. Now's a good opportunity to reach out to some of those artists because they're also during the slow period of the year and say, hey, I liked this track you made. I'd love to make a track with you in the coming year. When you have time, I'd love to sit down and talk about a track we can make together. So it's a good idea to reach out during this time because it's slow for everybody. And you might be able to get a couple collaborations set up and maybe even finished before the year starts so that you have some stuff to release right away. And that's just for collaborations with artists. You could be doing collaborations with brands, with clothing companies, with music companies, with gear companies, with anything. And yeah, the holidays may not be the best time to do a collaboration with people because they're already trying to sell stuff, but you can make a list of people that you want to reach out to, create a content package for them of what you've done in the past and what you want to do going forward. And so that way, when it's January or February, whenever, you've already got stuff lined up to where all you have to do is just click send and the email's already out there. So think about who you want to collaborate with in 2026. Are there artists you want to make some music with? Are there brands you want to try and do some partnership or videos with? Or are there just people on social media that are outside of music, that are artists or content creators that you really like their content and think it would be cool to do a video or some sort of collaboration with them? Reflect on that on the coming days and see what pops up. You'd be surprised how many people are also already trying to prep for 2026 right now, and you showing up in their DMs might be exactly what they want right now. So think about it and give it a try. On top of collaboration strategy, we should also be talking about your technology strategy. Of course, the holidays are here, so a lot of stuff is going to be on sale. So if you need to make backups, buy some hard drives. If you need some extra cables for your setup, get them now. Look at your setup and see if there's anything that really needs to change or potentially get upgraded. With all the sales going on during the holiday season, this is the best time to go in and try and grab some of those items for yourself. So that way in 2026, if something breaks down, if something's already on the way out, you're solid. You're ready to go because you saved all that time and money by doing it during the holidays. And you don't have to go out and spend more money or pay full price or whatever it is for something that you already knew you had to get, so you got it when it was on sale during the holidays. Take a look at your setup, see what you need, and go from there. And as we wrap up the end of the year, this is also the time to take a look at your business finances. If you've been making money from music, YouTube, social media, or whatever it is, take a look at your receipts. Make sure you have everything in order because once 2026 starts, it's going to be time to file taxes. And you're going to want to make sure everything is set up and easy for you to file as easily as possible because in March or February or January, whenever you start to file, if it's not lined up, you're probably going to have so many other things going on that something might slip through the cracks, or you just might forget about it. So if you have time now, when there's no pressure to release anything, to promote music, to create anything, start getting your taxes and your business stuff in line for 2026. You'll thank yourself in March or April of next year when you're trying to file your taxes, when it's already all lined up. You just have to click a couple buttons and hit submit, and you're good to go. So save yourself some peace of mind. Make sure if you do it now, you don't have to slow down later. It's one thing already off the checklist that you already know you have to do. So take the time now, just get it out of the way. Organize it as much as you can for the coming year. And that's not just for taxes. If there's other business opportunities that you want to take a look at, you should definitely do so. Maybe you want to think about switching your distribution service to a different company. Maybe you're looking at some of the subscriptions that you use for making music or making artwork or whatever it is. Take a look and see if there are other options out there now so you can save money in 2026. There's been a lot of content in this video for sure, and it's not easy to do all these things by yourself. So that's where this next piece of advice is. Find a community or find a mentor, or maybe both. Find a mentor in a community, because some of these are things that I didn't always think of by myself. It's either things that people told me from other communities, or people that I look up to as mentors have kind of mentioned these things before too. So look for those communities. Beattober, you hopefully found some people in a community or some mentors. So maybe now's a good time to kind of reach out to some of those people and say, hey, I'd like some advice on what I can do for 2026 around these areas. See what they can do, see if they're able to offer you some good tips, some free help. If it's a mentor that's in high demand, they may charge maybe like $50 for like a 30-minute session to kind of go over these things, but there's nothing wrong with trying to make sure that you're on the right path for what you want to do in 26. Definitely do as much prep work as possible if you are going to be paying for a mentor's time, because you don't want them to say, well, have you done this? Have you done this? And you know you should have done those things, but you just didn't. So do as much prep work as you can before you email or reach out to a mentor that is only available through paid time, because this could be one of those things where even though it's paid, it may lend to you having really good success in 2026 by getting another person's perspective. But you just kind of gotta see what's out there. And maybe it's not a paid mentor. There's nothing wrong paying for a mentorship if it's someone that's really gonna add value. But there's also nothing wrong with talking to your friends, talking to other people in the community, making a general post for help or support for tips, and see what happens from there. Find your community, find a mentor that you can maybe check in regularly with throughout the year, and go from there. And lastly, find out how you want to take a break throughout the year. I mean, this is a break right now, but you're still doing some sort of work if you got this far in the video. You're working on what you're going to do for 2026. Find ways that you can schedule breaks or vacations throughout the year. Plan on having maybe 2 weeks where maybe you don't work on music too much, or you go on a road trip, or there's some sort of activity that you find yourself wanting to do throughout the year to kind of take your mind away from music, so that when you come back, you feel refreshed, you feel renewed, and you have new ideas on how you want to approach different aspects of music. It's not easy to find that time throughout the year. So if you can kind of schedule that time now, or think of ways where you're kind of going to turn your brain away from music so they can renew and refresh, now's a good time to think about those ways so it's easier to implement it later in the year. Again, all these things kind of go back to creating that consistency, which is like the first tip we talked about. So why not start now? Create that consistency now around all these areas, so that way in 2026, you're ready to go, you're taking care of business, you're doing what you love, doing what you're passionate about, and you're feeling good about it. If there's any tips that you also recommend for musicians to do to prepare for 2026, go ahead and drop them in the comments below, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, I'm Blue Sirens. Hope you have a good rest of the 2025, and I'll see you in 2026. Peace.